Hi, I'm Matt. I've been in the gaming space for the better part of 17 years, and we're working on a decentralized chat app.
Hey, I'm Shannon Wells and work with Yondon Fu, who is up here at LivePeer. LivePeer is a decentralized video infrastructure protocol. We reduce the cost of putting video on the web by about 10x, centralized Web 2 services, and we are super excited to support Web 3 video applications across the gaming, metaverse, and FT social space.
Hi everyone. Working? Yes. My name is Pasquale. I'm the founder and CEO of Gamis. We are building a decentralized video and streaming platform for all things in Web3, gaming, events, and much more.
Awesome. All right. Well, it's nice to meet you three officially. I'm just going to ask a pretty generalized question, and I'll let each of you answer, and then we'll get into individual questions here. So, just to kick it off, like, what are some of the major challenges you've been experiencing, either building or just navigating the Web3 space?
Yeah, mine's still dead. Yeah, I think for me personally, and I think for my team, early on it was dealing with things like API keys, and we really wanted to have no custody of any of the data that we're dealing with or anything like that. And that becomes challenging when you have to deal with API keys that you can't necessarily give to the users. And I think the second biggest thing is we've had a lot of time to have a lot of good technology, good protocols, but also a lot of time to have a lot of scams and a lot of people to get burned. So in gaming specifically, it's a big challenge to win over the hearts of the gamers and show them that it's not all so bad. There is a lot of things that people may get burned on, but a lot of us are good at heart.
To use LivePeer, you don't actually have to build a Web3 application. There's nothing like smart contracty or blockchainy about using our APIs to do live streaming or video on demand. So our early use cases, LivePeer's been around since 2017. Our early use cases are actually from Web 2. And a lot of our largest users are actually in Web 2 today. So I think, one of the things we're really excited about tackling is just how do we work with other parts of the Web3 stack to really make it easy for people to build Web3 applications. And I think we all are prioritizing this in this space is just how do we kind of abstract away some of that complexity so that you do, on the back end get that composability and the full stack, Web3 infrastructure, but make it really easy to build front-end applications. So I think that's like the number one challenge in the space right now, but we're really excited about making that easy. Just for this week, we actually released a really cool CID video streaming playback feature in our SDK, which you basically plug in a CID into our player, into any front-end application, and it's like very low to no code solution. So I think more tooling like that will be really important.
Yeah, to me, of course, I share your challenges, but I also have another one. Is mainly the legal structure for an early startup that wants to work in the crypto space. Because Web3 is a big change, and many people are afraid of big changes, right? And also, this applies for companies and big entities. They watch, they wait, and they just dive in when things are more stable, there is more adoption. And I started a company in the Netherlands, and my devs wanted to be paid in crypto because some of them were in Russia. Then I moved some funds to my Kraken account, and I got a call from the bank. And they said, look, if you want to do crypto, you need a different kind of license. Otherwise, we close your bank account. Then we got no chance because we were an early startup, and we could not afford to get a license in the Netherlands for doing crypto. Then we moved to Switzerland. So I feel, the legal structure and these kind of things are still a struggle for a startup founder, in Europe at least. And then if you want to release a token, it's even, you have maybe go to other places like offshore. So it's a bit a struggle. Yeah.
Spiral. All right, so moving into some other questions here. So, at least with me being a content creator, when I think of people broadcasting on platforms, you think of Twitch, for instance. When you introduce the value of that, a lot of people think streamers earning subscribers, getting donations. But now we're moving into this different space in Web3 where not only are creators finding value here, but the viewers are as well. So can each of you talk a little bit about, what kind of value are you introducing to the people that are using these, not necessarily as creators, but just as a general audience?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of benefits for creators. There's at least for us, I've dealt a little bit with content creation and streaming platforms myself. A lot of the Web 2 architecture is kind of a little bit limited when it comes to creating content on these different platforms. For example, we used Discord early on for having a large group of people in a panel, some similar to this. But when you get everyone laughing, you get everyone excited, everyone's having a good time. The audio that you pull back down is just a mess. It's one single audio stream. You can't normalize audio. You can't get the peaks out, and really you're releasing subpar audio because of this. So with COVID and everything, being able to talk to people, create this content, it's kind of we've seen a dip in quality. So one thing that we really hope to do is bring extensibility, bring options to the people. So if you have a favorite codec that you just think sounds so crisp and clean, you can drop it in. If you want to record all your audio to separate tracks, you can do that. If one benefit of doing peer-to-peer architecture is there really are no hard limits that need to be set on different things. If you want to stream at 8K, if you want to stream at 60 FPS, do it. You should be able to do it. If your hardware can handle it, if your internet can handle it, go for it. So I think there's a lot of things like that we will find to be happy accidents of ditching these centralized services and having lower overhead as a company, and instead passing off that responsibility to the user to make their decision how much data they want to use, how much, what bit rate they want to stream at, give them total options. So I think we'll find a lot more things like that are happy little accidents that the users come to love.
Crystal, do you watch lives on Twitch?
Yes.
Yes? Do you make money when you do it?
Very rarely.
And the same applies also for YouTube, TikTok, right? And if you see these platforms, there are three main components. The platform, the company behind, that's the main pillar. Then we have the content creators, and we have the users. So without the company, there is no technology, so there is no streaming. Without the content creators, there is no show. But without the users, there is no engagement. So the users are a very important player in this game. I mean, you cannot have a theater without the audience. So this is why we have to find ways to reward also the users, because it's a very helpful weapon if you do it. You can, if you reward them, you can have a better engagement, you can have a better acquisition, but also very, very fast. And that can help also if you want to build a strong community. And this is what we want to do at Gummies, because usually Twitch or YouTube take like 50% cut on revenues, on advertisement, subscriptions. But if they could just give something back to the communities, they make billions, but they never give anything back to the users. So this is why we will have a better and different kind of revenue sharing model.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, Gummies uses live peer. So this is like a really good example to illustrate that, you just talked about Twitch and gaming. So live streaming gaming is one of the largest segments on Twitch. And, what is going to enable viewers of that to, better unlock their own, earning potential. It is when applications who build alternative front ends to Twitch using decentralized infrastructure like LivePeer alongside decentralized storage like IPFS with other Web3 primitives like verifiability. That is what enables, front end viewers and creators to, own their content, to take that, those assets across platforms. Like interoperability across platforms is like a really important principle when we think about enabling, monetization of the creator economy in Web3. And also like the whole one of the fundamental principles of decentralized compute is that not only is it more resilient and censorship resistant, but it's also cheaper. One of the reasons why YouTube has such a high take rate, they take about 55 cents on every dollar that a creator makes on the platform, is because they're trying to cover their infrastructure costs. It's why YouTube sold to Google in 2008. It's why, Twitch continues to run at a loss for Amazon. So I think, the business model of your cost structure as an application on the web is just fundamentally different. You don't have to monetize user data to be able to cover those costs. And you can also take advantage of the principles of users owning their own data.
Yeah, speaking of data, let's talk a little bit more about that, because I feel like a lot of people that don't necessarily understand what's happening in the Web3 space, like they're very vocal about the fact that they don't care about things like privacy. So kind of like, can you talk a little bit about, what you're doing to help people, from, everything from privacy issues to censorship, things like that?
Yeah, I guess I can start. I think something that I've been thinking about for a while, and something that's become apparent in this space is we have a lot of great protocols. We have a lot of great tech, but, and I mean no offense, a lot of things kind of fall short and end up being demos of these great protocols and of these great techs. So you have this underlying incredibly powerful technology, but you really need to be the best outside of that. People don't necessarily care about their privacy, and a lot of panelists have expressed the same concerns, and I totally agree. So personally, what I think is you just have to be the best at what you want to do. Don't worry about blockchain. Don't use blockchain as a marketing term. Don't use, crypto or whatever to sell your company. Be the best at what you do, and just happen to be the most private solution for that. Happen to be the most secure solution for that. That's how we win as a movement in Web3, and I hope that all of us, and certainly I strive to do that, and we continue to do that. I think that will be the way to help the users. Give them the best platform, give them the easiest platform to use, and then let things like privacy and security be at your core ethos, but not a marketing term, not something that you use to bolster the legitimacy of your company.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, user experience and the user interface, and how, product builders are designing experiences, and giving users optionality around, how they want to, preserve or use, their own information. I'm super excited about projects like UCAN that are developing like really interesting abstracted, DID solutions that, allow front end users to delegate, signing authority. Yeah, I do think that we can't just push decentralization on people. They have to see that, it adds value for them. I think we, need more just examples for folks of how that can really work for them. The more markets we can create for, monetization of user assets, of creator assets, I think that will go a long way. For us at LivePeer, again, we're kind of like back-end infrastructure, but, we really do think that, along the video compute layer, which is what we do, we decentralize video transcoding, and transcoding is the most important thing you need to do to be able to put video on the internet, because recorded video comes in many files. Most of those aren't compatible with end browsers. So the playback experience there becomes really important. and then making sure you have the playback experience alongside decentralized infrastructure. Like, again, the end user doesn't need to know about that, but if we want to build fully Web3 applications, we do need to all be talking to each other and supporting developers in doing that. And the other point about live peer and just kind of the end user experience, the video compute pipeline, and once you transcode a piece of video content, you can do a lot to transform that, to make it more beautiful, to have other people kind of remix and collaborate on it, rendering, AI, this is all stuff that's coming down the pipeline for live peer that, again, we just want to offer as tooling for people who are building these products, so that we can really move away from pseudo Web3 applications that are really just minting NFTs and putting everything on Web2 infrastructure, to a world where users are really able to benefit from a full Web3 stack built application.
Awesome, yeah, and just to kind of, I'm a little hesitant just coming from the gaming space, but obviously with normal gamers that are still kind of, in the Web 2 area, they don't really want to pay attention to anything that's going on. There's a lot of, I would say, hostility toward anything that's Web 3 related. Can any of you talk about kind of what kind of conversations you're having with different gamers, the community in itself? How is that going?
We speak to gamers quite often because they test our application. We just released our alpha and our partners are playing around. But their main issue on this big platform is also the censorship. But I can also tell you very quickly a story, because I'm also the anonymous founder of a meme coin, and it did great last year. And of course, for meme coins, you have to invest a lot in marketing, working close to content creators. And we paid $5K for just a TikTok video. We paid, the guy uploaded the video on TikTok, and after a couple of hours, he was banned. So we lost the money, he lost the account, and then we realized, and we were looking into the issues of the industry. And again, these kind of things are a struggle for many gamers, but also content creators, because sometimes they got suspended or banned for stupid reasons. And I feel this is one of the main issues. And again, when we talk about money, Twitch is very slow. They pay once per month, and they do it in fiat. So on our application, if you get a subscription, it's on the blockchain, you get it in 3 seconds. You don't need to wait the payout every month. So I think this is also one topic that will push the adoption further.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure I can share some of the things that I've heard from content creators. It might be a little bit too obscene when crypto enters the conversation with them. But there's been a lot of negativity when we do cold emails and stuff for brand deals. But we also work with a lot of larger creators in the Twitch space, in OTK and things like that, and some larger creators on YouTube. And what it comes down to is a lot of things that are our fault. I've been in crypto long enough to also own some of that responsibility. We've had a multitude of platforms that kind of were created in the gaming space, and it would be a lie to say that a large majority of them were not inspired by becoming wealthy and using the general public as a way to do that. Crowdsourced fundraising can be great, but in 2017 we saw ICOs perhaps also cannot be great. NFTs can be great, but they can also not be great and not be useful. So, with people who take the time to sit down and listen and understand that we're not trying to raise a bunch of money, get rich, and sort of leave the country or whatever. We're trying to do something that actually is meant for them and meant to help them. People start to warm up and understand. So I think it's just a matter of winning over their hearts and kind of going back and owning up to the mistakes that we've made as a community in the past and fixing that. And it starts with the creators. The creators are the voice for gamers. anything the creators echo. Some of these creators have very close, almost family connections to their audience. So we need to win them over first. We need to make them understand that we're not just another company throwing them a large paycheck for a brand deal that might burn their users. We're genuinely trying to build better products in this space. So hopefully the conversations with creators and with gamers themselves will get better in the future. I think it's just going to take an equal, if not greater, amount of time of us building really great products and not worrying so much about how much money can we make up front.
Yeah, I think there's a big risk in pushing play to earn as the only thesis for gaming in Web3. Why do people play games? Because they're fun. We need to be building games for fun. Play to play, I think should be the thesis for gaming in Web 2 or Web 3. So it really comes down to the experience. And, at LivePeer, again, we're a video infrastructure protocol, offering tools for people building live streaming, video on demand applications. We're really excited to talk to game developers and game designers who want to reimagine what it's like to watch gaming, right? Like designing a game to be viewed. What is it like as a viewer of a game to experience that in a richer, more dynamic way? Those are the, types of projects that we're really excited to talk to. Everything from arena style game watching where you have very individualized, position specific angles and perspectives on a game to being able from those perspectives to mint, moments within a game. That's the stuff we're really excited about, enriching the experience of playing a game, of watching a game, of being in the metaverse, watching something in the metaverse, and the tokenization of that. I think we just need to make it not. We need to focus on those end applications and end experiences, like you just said.
Perfect. So let's jump into a little bit of advice, because I feel like, just in case there's anyone here in the room or anyone that might be watching this later on, there's a few barriers for people coming from Web 2 to Web 3. They don't necessarily know, where do I begin? How do I start? Whether it's they're wanting to build some sort of a platform or they're just wanting to be a content creator. So just generalizing, what kind of advice would you give to these people that might be a little intimidated about crossing that threshold and entering Web3?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me and the easiest, I think, is just don't worry about Web3. Worry about becoming a content creator. Worry about becoming a developer. Use Web3 as a technology. It's not intimidating to jump into the MongoDB field. It's not intimidating to jump into launching. I mean, perhaps it is for someone new to launch a Apache server or something. But really, Web3 is about changing how we deploy our tech and how we deploy our applications and how we handle data. So I think there's a multitude of great resources online that people can look into, but it kind of starts with just understanding that Web3 and blockchain and all these things are ideas. They are standards. You don't need to worry about how am I going to make a token? How am I going to do this? Just get out there and, if you're a content creator, be yourself. People watch content creators because we're all shut in nowadays. We're working from home. We're under lockdown restrictions. They want someone to connect to. They want someone to engage with and live vicariously through. So just be yourself. And I think that's the best way. Don't put on hey guys, welcome to my stream, blah, blah, blah. Just be yourself, have fun. And if you're a developer, just build like you're used to, but use the protocols and tools that all the wonderful people at this conference and anyone watching and all over the world have built. There's a ton of them out there. You've got plenty to choose from, and luckily they're all, at least in my experience, very well documented. So just get out there and do it, and don't worry so much about buzzwords and different things like that.
Just start, right?
Yeah, I also think find a community. I mean, again, that's one of the core, value propositions, features of Web3 is that, this is community. being decentralized means being community driven. Find your tribe, like find a group of people that are working on stuff similar to you. Get involved in those discussions. Uh, Figure out what you can add of value to that community. But I would say, like, don't do it alone. Yeah, that's like how we all win in this space is finding our communities.
All right, and I think we're kind of getting a little bit closer to time, so I wanted to take a little bit of time, though, just for each of you to talk about where we can find you online. If there's anything interesting going on you want to announce, just shout it out into the world.
Yeah, you can find me and my wonderful team at satellite.im online. We're working on building a totally decentralized chat application to rival the other ones that you may know in the gaming space. And the most important thing I'd like to shout out, just for my own sanity, is if you're a Rust developer, please, please, please email kevin@satellite.im. Send your application. I will be over the moon. It doesn't matter if you're new, I'll teach you. Yeah, I would say just check out the rest of the videos online. There's been a lot of great talks here.
Check out LivePeer, livepeer.org, at LivePeer on Twitter. Livepeer.studio is our developer toolkit if you are interested in building a video application. Again, whether that's live streaming, video on demand. We also have really cool tools for video NFT minting. We have a JavaScript SDK that we launched a couple months ago that now, as I mentioned, has that CID video playback feature, so you can really easily call decentralized storage from a front-end application, load like one-click solution in your front end. Check that out. You can follow me on Twitter, Shann, SHANN.lens, and happy to chat with anyone who's thinking about video.
For me, you can join our community if you want. The website is gummies.io, GUMMYS.io. And I'm Pasquale Sorrentino. You can add me on LinkedIn, or if you go on the website, you can also get the link of my Twitter. We launch next year. We are now collecting the early access for content creators and users. And we already have important partners in the space. We are also using LivePeer for the streaming, and we store every video on IPFS. So looking forward to meet you. I'm gonna be around in the next hours. Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you to everyone that's been here to listen and participate. It's gonna be an awesome day of talks, so that's all I got. Thank you guys so much.
Great.